Ciszko, ciszko. What you doing? Doesn't this look crazy? So I wanted to talk through some of my book recommendations that I have that are a bit more in the dark, dusty side of things. Some horror, some fantasy, and some dark academia as well. So I'm going to go through first the pile that I have read. So first, starting off strong, I have Howl's Moving Castle, the book. So it is different from the movie in a few ways, and I think the book is a little bit darker than the movie is. So I definitely recommend checking out the book. I think that's a series as well, but I've only read the first one. Second is Wildwood Dancing. So this is a fantasy, also kind of European background, folklore, and I read this when I was really young, and I love it. And there's a second book as well that's really amazing, but I think it's a great read. Next, we have something that's more in the dark academia side, which is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which is, I feel like, a classic. I definitely want to reread it because I read it a while ago, but I think there's just a feeling in it that, I don't know, it's just great. I I need to read her other books as well because I do really like Donna Tartt. And watching her artist talks too, I think they're great. Um, Similar to that is Bunny, which is kind of also dark academia literature. Um, Really weird but beautifully written. So that has some dark horror, body horror in that one. Um, Back to the lines of like fantasy stuff. This isn't as dark, I would say. Cinder and the Lunar Chronicles. So there's a few books, and it kind of is. They are retellings of old classic stories like Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and Snow White, but with like a cyberpunk ish twist. So if you're looking for a little bit lighter of a fantasy, I'd suggest that one. That one's a little bit off course, but I just thought it's a good book if you want something a little more soft. Another one I love is Where the Dark Stands Stills, which is a Polish folklore book. Um, and it's beautifully written. The history and everything in it is just wonderful. And there's romance, dark magic, and great history of folklore. So I definitely recommend it. And the author is a newer author as well. So she has some exciting books coming out too in the next year. So be on the look for those. Next is Slewfoot. So I recently read this, and I loved it. I definitely recommend it if you like kind of witchy, dark magic tales, and dark spirits. It is set in Puritan times, FYI, so you will be getting mad at the men. Just to let you guys know. And last but not least is Carmilla. So this is predating Dracula. Comes before Dracula, and it's a really great vampire story, with some kind of lesbian vampires or lesbian lovers ish. It's alluded, not completely. Um, and then last one, sorry, that I've read, is A Winter's Promise. Now this is more on the world building side. If you want a book that's similar to world building in Lord of the Rings or A Game of Thrones, I recommend A Winter's Promise and the rest of the books. It's translated from French. It's a French author, and there is some like dark matter in here, dark magic, and especially the fourth book. Fourth book goes off the rails. I will say that, but there's a lot of dark stuff in that one too. Next are books I'm currently reading, because I start and stop a lot of books at all different times. So I started reading Hazardous Spirits. So this one is kind of about seeing the dead. I've only just started it, so I'd say that's a little bit on the darker side as well. I'm almost done with Joan, which is a Joan of Arc book. So if you're in that medieval fantasy mood and you want like a biography that doesn't really feel like a biography, but it's really well written and gives like a great telling of the story of Joan of Arc, I highly recommend it. Um, and then I read this when I was younger, so it doesn't count because I don't remember it. But I just started rereading Shiver, and it is coming out, I think, in a movie or a TV show soon, which is exciting. But something about the energy in this book is so nostalgic, but also similar to Dark Academia. I find that it has that, I don't know, that upper north, dark, snowy, kind of gray feeling, but in the best way, like a good charcoal gray. So I'm currently reading those. Some books that I haven't read, but I want to read. So starting with Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Had to think about that one. I had these books for forever. I just never got around to reading them. And I feel like since I'm in this kind of dark gothic feeling, just really feeling soft goth vibes lately, I should definitely read it. Because I have the whole series. I have read some of this Dracula, by Bram Stoker, but I haven't finished it, and I need to. I'm like a third in, but this is a really special copy to me because I was in a ballet when I was younger. We did Dracula, and I was Dracula's bride, and the whole cast signed it. So, very special copy. Um, Picture of Dorian Gray as well for some kind of gothic-esque genre. Um, for more horror, Diavalio, well, Diavolo, for more of a kind of horror book, dark horror. Um, so I'm excited to read that one. And then this is also kind of like murder, dark academia ish. Gone Girl. I need to read that book. I've been needing to read that book for a while. And then last but not least is White Oleander. If it's anything like the movie, which you guys should watch the movie, there's like a blue, dusty feeling you get with it, and it has like a dark story, and there is, I wouldn't say horror, but there is some murder. um, but I think that fits loosely into the genre. So the books I was kind of sharing today were kind of under the umbrella of horror, fantasy, a little bit of romance, and some gothic-esque tones and some dark academia tones, and then some like softer dark gray tones. Um, so I hope you enjoyed those recommendations. I definitely have a lot of other book recommendations for other genres, but these are just a few if you're really getting into that Gothic era and you want books that are similar to Gothic literature or fiction. Those are some of my recommendations. Thank you. Just going through my journal to make note of what I need to I thought I'd do a little bedtime reading for us all. Today I'm going to be reading from Snail Mail Daily from Martina's Tiny Store. And today's issue is How to Fall in Love, Pay Attention. In today's fast paced world, falling in love with life isn't about chasing after big dreams or grand experiences. It's about finding beauty in the small, everyday moments. The secret lies in a simple, often overlooked practice: paying attention, being present in the first step toward falling in love with life. When you immerse yourself in the moment, you start to notice the world in a new way. The way sunlight filters through leaves, casting intricate shadows on the ground. The comforting aroma of fresh coffee in the morning, the way it warms your hands as you cradle the cup. The sound of rain tapping against the window, turning an ordinary day into something cozy and magical. These little details are always there, waiting to be appreciated, but you have to slow down and pay attention to see them. Life's imperfections, those quirky, unexpected detours, add depth and character. A missed bus leading to an unexpected adventure, or a dinner that didn't turn out quite right but became a moment of laughter. These imperfections make life rich and uniquely yours. By paying attention, you learn to embrace and even love these flaws, seeing them as part of the tapestry of your life. Gratitude naturally flows from this practice. When you start noticing the small things, a smile from a stranger, the first flowers of spring, the way your favorite song lifts your spirits, life feels fuller and more meaningful. These moments, though fleeting, are gifts that add up to a life well lived. To fall in love with life is to find joy in simply being alive. It's about recognizing the extraordinary in the ordinary, appreciating the details, and cherishing each moment as it comes. Life is happening all around you, and it's waiting for you to notice. Pay attention, and you'll find that life's beauty is always within reach.